What if your thoughts, patterns, and emotions are all part of one elegant system that is guiding your growth? Today, I'm going to do a quick overview on the 9 levels of consciousness, and I've talked a little bit already about creation and the cycle of consciousness and the fact that the physical follows the spiritual. And so that kind of laid the groundwork for us talking about this. And this is kind of a mishmash of several spiritual teachers and metaphysical things that are out there. And so this is kind of my take on this. So you are welcome to embrace it or not, and that's fine. I am going to do a deep dive on each of the 9 levels as well. This one is really just kind of going through the quick version of it. So first of all, let's talk about why this matters, okay? So understanding the levels of consciousness begins to help you unpack how to find, let me rephrase. If you are finding that there are areas that you're struggling with, or patterns that are looping, or beliefs that are really deep rooted that you're having difficulty shifting, understanding the levels of consciousness helps you to have a way to unpack some of that so you can get unstuck and move through, okay? So understanding kind of the framework for how it works allows you to know where to address different things. And I've talked about this, I mentioned it briefly in key number 6, Release and Transmute Energy, for the Empowered Communication series. And I was talking about shadow work, and I was talking about that for myself particularly, that the pattern that I use when I'm doing that chases the emotion back to the belief, back to the pattern that is looping, okay? And spoiler alert, that is straight out of the 9 levels of consciousness, because what that is that's looking at the subconscious, taking it, which is the emotions, taking it back to the beliefs, which are happening at the unconscious, and then taking it back to the patterns that are looping, which is happening at the individual automatic mind. And so again, when you understand the framework, then it gives you a grid for how you can do the inner work so that you can address different things. And I think that that's the reason why it's powerful. So let's just talk really quickly about what the 9 levels of consciousness are. So the first level is the oversoul. And again, I'm going to talk about all these in more depth shortly, but this is essentially the possibility of creation, okay, of a specific individuated creation, okay? Then you have the individual soul or spirit, and again, this is still very nebulous at this level, but then you get down into the higher mind or higher self. For those of you that's a term that you use, this is where that occurs. That's at level 3. Then you get down into the template reality. Then you get into the collective automatic mind. Then you get into the individual automatic mind. Then you get into your physical mind, which is going to be your unconscious, followed by your subconscious. And at the innermost part, you have the conscious. And the reason that I show this in a circular concentric circle pattern is because, again, if you think of creation and you think of the inward focus of spirit manifesting physical creation, that's what you're seeing here, okay? So at the center is the physical reality, okay? And so again, this is just a framework. You don't have to agree with me. This is just ideas. You can take what resonates and toss out what doesn't, but hopefully it sparks some interest. And I look forward to sharing a little bit more about each one of these levels with you. Have a great day.